This video will have a look at an example of how to use the quadratic formula to be able to solve a quadratic equation. The quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and we divide that by 2a. Using this quadratic formula, you are able to work out two different values of x. These values of x will be the solution to the quadratic equation that we are trying to solve. So to be able to use the quadratic formula, what you need is to be able to identify your a, b, and c values from the original equation. So remember, the standard form of a quadratic equation is a x squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. You apply that standard form to the equation in your question to be able to identify what your a, b, and c values are. Your a value is going to be the value in front of the x squared. Your b value is going to be the value in front of x. And then your c is going to be the standalone value without a x variable. So once you have identified what those values are, you substitute it into the quadratic formula to work out your two values of x. So let's have a look at an example of how we can apply the quadratic formula to be able to solve a quadratic equation. So in the example, we want to solve the equation of negative 4x squared minus 6x plus 3 is equal to 0. So the first step in being able to solve that equation is to identify the a, b, and c values. So the a value is going to be in front of the x squared, and that is going to equal to negative 4. The b value is going to be in front of the x, so that is going to be negative 6. Remembering you need to have a look at the sign in front of the number to see whether it's going to be a positive or a negative. So subtract 6x is going to be a negative 6x, and the c value is going to be the standalone number, which is equal to 3. So after identifying the a, b, and c values, next step is to write the formula. So x is going to equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and that's going to be divided by 2a. So after you've got the formula written down, next is to substitute in your a, b, and c values. So my b value is going to be negative 6. So negative b is going to be negative and then negative 6. Then it's going to be plus or minus the square root of b squared, so negative 6 squared, minus 4 times a times c. So that'll be 4 times negative 4, and then times by 3. And then we're going to divide that by 2 times a, so 2 times negative 4. So proceeding with my equation, x is going to equal to negative 6 is going to become a positive 6. So positive 6 plus or minus, and that's going to be the square root of negative 6 squared minus 4 times negative 4 times 3. So using a calculator, that is going to equal to 84. And then divided by 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. So at this point in our working out, we split our equation into two using our plus and minus. So the first equation is going to be x is equal to 6 plus the square root of 84, and then divide by negative 8. Or my second equation, which is x is equal to 6 minus the square root of 84, divide by negative 8. So using a calculator, I can work out that my two solutions are going to be x is equal to negative 1.9 or x is equal to 0.4. So the two solutions to the equation of negative 4x squared minus 6x plus 3 is equal to 0 is going to be that x is equal to negative 1.9 or x is equal to 0.4. And that is an example of how we can use the quadratic formula to be able to solve a quadratic equation.